It's Chance96 here with another video review. This time we have the Marvel Legends Warlock Build-A-Figure from the second wave of X-Men figures. So this was a pretty solid wave altogether. I was very excited to get them all, and was quite excited for the Build-A-Figure. This Build-A-Figure is obviously quite unique from anything that we've really had before, or at least in recent Marvel Legends history, which is nice. So I was definitely looking forward to building him, and yeah, I've got him complete here. So let's go over it. So first of all, really odd looking Build-A-Figure. Warlock is quite a strange character, and there's been a few different designs of him in the comics, all with the same style of color and wackiness in general, but I definitely like what they've gone with here. I think it's quite neat and very cool. So going over the actual sculpt here, I like it quite a lot. As you can see, that there's tons of detail here, like throughout the body, arms, legs. Just every inch on him is just covered with paneling and electronic detailing to give him that robot look, which is very nice. It's detailed extremely well. I particularly like the thighs, how it's a bunch of wires and pieces, and the torso where you have a lot of smaller detail as well, which just looks so cool. But yeah, those thighs with all the wires I like quite a lot. The head sculpt is just as unique as the rest of the figure. As you can see, it looks very cool. I definitely like that kooky expression, and I love the fact that one eye is larger than the other. When I first saw pictures of this, I don't know what I was thinking, but I was kind of thinking that the hair would be more rounded. I didn't think it would have much depth to it, so getting it in person, I was very surprised to see how far back the hair went, which is really cool. And as you can see, every little strand of hair has a bunch of detail in it as well. And on the back, let's get you a better look at that hair to really appreciate it. So cool. Love that detail so much. Love it. Very nice. So yeah, really am liking this figure from a sculpting perspective all the way through. I think that it's really, well done as far as the sculpting is concerned. I do like the hands too, particularly this one. I think it has some great, weird, neat expression to it. I love that, I love really aggressive hand sculpts when they can do things like that, and that just looks wonderful. He does have these hoses that are attached to his arm, and they can be pegged into the back here. I find that this one doesn't peg in as well as this side. This side just pegs in stronger. It feels like it goes in better. This one doesn't. It'll stay, but it can get knocked out really easily. When you pose him, though, unless you have his arms to his side, when you start posing him, these will pop out very easily. I found I basically just leave them out, and when I put them in a pose, I just kind of position the hose, kind of maybe like stick it like back here, just so that it doesn't look like it's just hanging, so to make it look kind of nice. But yeah, it is nice that he does have the hoses, and obviously I'm glad that they're not attached so that he's not like super restricted. As far as the paint goes, the paint is just as good as the detail itself. I love this paint. I mean, they have it's like they have a base, what is it, like a base kind of dark gray, like a charcoal kind of metal type of look to it, and then they've kind of washed in this kind of goldish color scheme, which looks awesome. I love it. This robot completely just, when I look at him, reminds me of Ben from Treasure Planet. That's an excellent movie. Super underrated. I believe it's Disney. Yeah, super underrated Disney movie. I haven't seen it. Totally check that out. But he completely reminds me of that type of robot. Very neat. I like it a lot. Just super complex. And of course, like I said, the painting is very complex as well. And throughout it, just tons of nice detail on it, and lots of washes going through. As far as his articulation goes, it's really good. It's actually surprisingly good. I didn't expect it to be this good. But he has a ball-jointed head, which obviously can give you those side-to-side head tilts, which is important for a wacky character like this. He also has a hinge, which allows him to look down very far and allows him to look up extremely far as well, especially with that hair. He can still look up very far. He has complete, ball hinge shoulders, which are on a ratchet, which is nice, and it obviously swivels completely. You have a swivel at the bicep, double hinge at the elbows, which can go perfectly, as you can see. My only issue with this figure is the elbow and knee joints. I find them to be slightly loose. I wish that they were a little bit harder plastic that they used. However, they do still work nicely. It takes a little extra finagling to kind of get them to move properly, I'd say. Then you have on a hand's ball hinge. The hinge can be restricted a bit just because of the way that his hand is kind of like inside this massive arm piece, but it doesn't hinder it much at all. The torso is very interesting. I didn't expect much here, but the torso can't really go side to side, but what it can do is it can crunch forward very far, as you can see, and it can crunch back just as far back. So I love that, and then it also does swivel on that too. So you have some excellent movement there. If you try to put them forward and it's not working, you have to get this piece over these little two loops. You kind of have to stretch it over. There you go, and then it'll pop down. So love that torso articulation. Thigh articulation is pretty nice as well. Kicks up about 90 degrees. Kicks to the side very far. I have to say that's a large split. Double hinge knees, which work perfectly, and then the ankles have a hinge swivel. Just a hinge pivot actually. And so it can pivot forward very far, can pivot up, hinge up just slightly, and then the pivot works pretty nicely, slightly hindered based on the design of the legs, but not too bad. So overall, his articulation is great, his design is great, his paint is great. I think that this is just a fantastic Build-A-Figure. I really do love it in just about every category. The only thing is he's not super big. He's very tall, but he's very skinny and lengthy, so he doesn't give you that massive, intimidating Build-A-Figure feel, which I would have liked. However, that is a small complaint because he is still rather large. Let's do a size comparison here. Alright, for size comparison, we have Warlock here standing next to Colossus from this wave, which is a pretty large figure that comes in a standard package by himself. And then we have, to date, I think the tallest Marvel Legends figure since the return of Marvel Legends 2012. I don't think that there's been one that's taller. I personally don't have one that's taller than this, so I do believe that this is the tallest kind of modern Marvel Legends figure. So, I did have hopes that Warlock would be the tallest one, the new tallest one. Unfortunately, as you can see, that didn't happen. He is shorter than Giant Man, which is definitely a shame. I was hoping with that big hair he might make it, but he doesn't. Wish that they could have made him slightly bigger. I think that would have still kept him in scale, and because he's much skinnier than even that Giant Man there. So you do feel like you're not getting a whole lot as far as bulk is concerned with this Warlock figure. However, the figure itself is just so nice that that's really what won me over. Not so much the size and scale of it, but the design factor is what really makes me like this Build-A-Figure. He does come with an accessory. As you can see, he does have an interchangeable buzzsaw hand. It looks really nice. I do like the detailing on it a whole lot. I like the fact it's kind of like double-bladed. I like the little symbols on it as well, and I love this little hose. I think that looks excellent. The blade doesn't spin, unfortunately, but that's a small thing. But as you can see, it looks very cool, and it is attached to the same type of joint, so it can swivel and also has a hinge in there as well, which I think is quite neat. It's nice that they gave you like an accessory for him. And what's great is it doesn't come by itself. It's not like the Sandman Build-A-Figure where if you wanted his accessories, you'd have to buy another figure. With this one, you get the accessory along with another mandatory piece, so you don't have to buy any extra figures to get it, which is nice. I think what I would have liked to see them do, though, is maybe give you a few more interchangeable hands. I'm assuming that Warlock has probably utilized some other tools for his hands rather than just the buzzsaw, so I could totally see them pack in with the Logan figure of this wave a few accessories. I think that would have been kind of neat, and it would have allowed Logan to have Build-A-Figure pieces. I don't like it when there's figures in waves that don't have Build-A-Figure pieces. I just kind of don't understand what the point of that is. So that would have been nice to do, but I'm still very happy with what they did do, because actually I really like the buzzsaw, and it does make for some different poses, which I definitely like quite a bit. So overall, this is an excellent Build-A-Figure, I'd say. I really enjoyed it. If you're looking for a Build-A-Figure that's mainly just massive in scale, and that's why you particularly like Build-A-Figures, then this is definitely not going to be one for you. But if you do appreciate something different, and considering in the Marvel Legends line so many of the sculpts are very similar, and the accessories can be very similar, so sometimes collecting Marvel Legends can get a bit boring. However, when you have some unique figures and some unique characters thrown in the mix, it does keep things very fresh, and this is definitely a prime example of a unique figure and a unique character, so that is great. So really enjoyed this Build-A-Figure, and I enjoyed it much more than I was expecting to. It's not like that I just saw saw him and knew it was going to be great. I saw him, thought, that's kind of interesting. Let's see how they do it, and it turned out to be very good. So I very much enjoyed this Build-A-Figure, and I would definitely recommend building it if you plan to get at least some of the figures in this wave. I wouldn't recommend buying this entire wave just for him, but if you're already going to get like 3 figures or so, pick up the other 3 to build him. I think it is worth it. So there you go. That's my video review of the Marvel Legends Build-A-Figure from the second wave of the X-Men series, Warlock. Let me know what you guys think of the figure, and thanks so much for watching.